everyone, and welcome back. And today is a different day. Some might think special, some might think the opposite, but I am playing best of 3 today, and I am playing Dimir Midrange, as you see here, with a 15 card sideboard where I try to figure out this meta and try not to lose my mind trying to think of what to bring in the sideboard and what to cut, as I do not play a lot of best of 3, at least in standard terms. So if there is kind of some sideboard mistakes or things like that, or I think about a matchup wrong, it's going to come with time, as I just play a lot of best of 1 standard, as that's what I enjoy kind of the most. But today we're going to try some best of 3. I might go to like playing best of 3 a couple times a week just to kind of have a mix up every now and then, where we can kind of see the same decks that might not necessarily do so well in best of 1 maybe outperform itself in a best of 3 format. So with that said, we're starting off with one of the best decks in the meta. In Dimir Midrange, and a lot of it revolves around kind of playing this flash style gameplay where you just have a lot of things that come in on your opponent's end step or kind of come in uncounterably and uninteractably, like Kaido, for example, with this ninjutsu ability, and just playing these kind of mid-rangey cards overall that either interact with your opponent, remove their stuff, or just stun it down so you can strike for lethal. Now, a lot of that comes from kind of a phantom interference, kind of being a counter spell per se, cut down obviously to pick up creatures. They want to go for the throw a little bit less here than we would be playing in a best of 1 format, obviously if you've been watching my channel for a while, but a little bit less removal here. But that's what the sideboard's for, where you kind of can reach over here and you can see an Anoint with Affliction, Shieldred's Edict, and an extra copy of Gix Command, as this resides down here, being kind of our only board wipe we really want to play, because it can kind of dodge around a bit where Deadly Cover-Up does not. Deadly Cover-Up is going to remove everything, and on our turn, Kaido, for example, was going to be a creature, so we want to make sure that we don't do weird stuff like that and get that removed. Other than that, we're going to interrupt their hand with Deep Cavern Bat, use Spyglass Siren as kind of a value piece with maps, and then maybe a Kaido kind of target whenever we go to ninjutsu. We have Fairy Masterminds for our opponent's drawing cards, Drowner to kind of tuck their cards away or keep an important creature tapped twice, like for 2 turns. This comes up quite a bit in the video. And then Enduring Curiosity being a crazy 4-drop that we get to play. This card has kind of single-handedly pushed Shieldred away, because drawing cards yourself is a lot better than hoping your opponent draws too many cards and they lose to a weird kind of extent. Also, Flash is a pretty good keyword that this card has. So do nothing. When they're in step, flash this in, reap the rewards on the next turn. Other than that, we have 2 Preachers and a Tidebinder, which is very cool, and we have a Sanctuary and a Fountain Port kind of to note after that. And I don't know what the best way to look at the sideboard is, actually. It's kind of weird here, but in the sideboard we have Duresses, Ghost Vacuum for the graveyard stuff, a Negate for kind of the bigger decks or control, Anoint for kind of the Heartfire hero decks and stuff like that, Fairy Bloom Trick just when we want to play a little bit more at instant speed, along with that Fairy Mastermind kind of all coming together there. Spell Pierce for the lower to the ground decks, Shieldred's Edict for other copies of Kaido or things we just can't really interact with too well, more Tidebinders for the same reason, or countering like Jace Mill abilities and such, Preacher for the mid-range matchups, or Tide to kind of help target things out as well, and then Gix Command if the situation calls for it. With that said, let's go ahead and dive in. I have just a couple of games today. Obviously, it's a little bit more than 2 games. It is 2 matches, but it's obviously more than 2 matches. But let me know in the comments if you prefer the best of 3 games to be kind of the same match for all 3 games, or as I'm playing best of 3, kind of the best games throughout the series, and maybe a report whether I won that series or not. I would personally prefer the entire match, where I play game 1, 2, and 3 against the same opponent if it so happens to go to 3, and so on and so forth. But I know I've seen a couple of people upload where they just kind of do the best matches they had, even if maybe not the most exciting games whenever you do like all the 3 games together. But with that said, let's go game. Oh boy. All right. Not horrible. They take a Maul. I mean, 3 of our cards are castable. We hit a land. Most of our cards are castable. I think it's okay. With a slightly aggressive meta, I would assume, based on results. Yeah. The mountain. We hit a land immediately, so that's obviously pretty good for us. Seems that they have either a burn spell in their hand, Gruul, sure. We have Cut Down available. We have Deep Cavern Bat obviously available. Alright. Kind of isolate remove here where we take care of the Heartfire hero and then we just maybe go for the palm patch. Or there's a counter spell. I could also go for a deep cavern bat and look to answer it post this turn. Let's take a look here. Doc, Innkeeper's Talent, Emberheart Challenger. Talent is by far the most annoying card. Does this shut that off? The ability of an artifact creature or planeswalker? No. I could take the talent, force them to shock my bat, or just leave the bat, go that route. I don't know. I'm going to take the talent. I think it's the only card in their hand that gives them way too much value. We're kind of hoping they miss a land. It is Gruul aggro, so hitting lands is typically not in the forte of the deck. What do we got? Shock the bat, bolt the bird. Do the thing. Look, even your homie over here resetting. Oh, blocks for me. The block gave him back for free. I think it might be a protection spell. So we're going to move into combat here. Kind of neutralize the Paul Patch in a little bit of a way. Not really. I could just interference this and keep the Innkeeper talent for myself. So they just get like no value ever. I kind of think that's where I'm at, but I can also just counter it next turn. Because they can always find a way to remove my Deep Cavern Bat. I can't always find a way to answer the Innkeeper's talent over and over again. And if it's like right here, sure, I'm going to take 2, but I'll just get that answered right away. And a card like Shieldred is going to be obviously hard to beat if we rip a land here. And I think I want to go Shieldred after double spot removal. At some point, this Emberheart Challenger's got to come down, right? Here. Could be a protection spell. I'm just not going to take the free hit. Or force them to maybe play a creature again. Sure. Like I said, not taking free hits. Not in these ballparks, brother. Here's Shelly. The one of... down to 18. Now our hand size has kind of pivoted here. Our hand size is a bit higher than mine. Don't let them untap with the prowess creature, especially on 2 mana and cards like Snakeskin Veil available. Most likely won't be playing that, but outside of maybe a 1 of. I remember, I want to say it's Arnie is how you pronounce it, was talking about playing Gruul, and it was an open deck list tournament in which he played it a bit differently, where he did play Snakeskin Veil because his opponent knew what he was playing. So it was this awkward thing of like, oh, okay, well, if they know what I'm going to be submitting, then I might as well interact with them that way and let them know that at any point I have 1 green mana up and I could have a Snakeskin Veil. Can't imagine in a world right now that I'm dead to anything. Fairy Mastermind can also make them draw an extra card, and then we'll gain 2 extra life, and yeah, this game's just over. Honestly, kind of happy I didn't have to show this, but I'm not even sure it makes it. Where to go from here against that deck specifically? Gix Command feels too slow. Curiosities seem a little slow. I think we just really want to take control of the game. This is where like Preacher is good, I believe. We really just want to take the game over the best we can whenever it's time to do so, right? But in Gruul, they could have protection, so the Edict's good. Drowner's like fine-ish. The rest are okay, but I don't think that this is the best matchup. Same with Fairy Mastermind, actually. Maybe I put the Drowner back in and just cut the Masterminds. At least Drowner can tuck away their creatures. Make 2 fairies. We can do tap target creature and opponent controls. Oh boy, what a weird matchup. I think Spell Pierce is okay. Hits those like Monstrous Rages and stuff like that, or for example, the Innkeeper's Talent. that we'll have to try to deal with. Negate just doesn't counter enough, I think. Duress. I'm not worried about Innkeeper's Talent. Maybe Duress is a problem. Like a way to answer that problem. I found Duress to be fine when I play best of one. Remember that as well. There will be some decisions I make off the fact that I've played a lot of best of one. I accidentally cut another card. Or did I not bring it in? I cut a Kaido, but I thought... Guess bringing in... might make sense. I don't know. It's weird. It's the other part about playing like in a format that you don't play all too often, because obviously best of one we don't have to really worry about sideboards. Our main boards aren't necessarily kind of made with cards to come out or go back in or whatever in those types of situations. They keep 7, we'll keep 7. Get a lot of kind of interaction with these Deep Cavern Bats, and right there is why an Anoint's obviously really good. But we'll play a Siren. We'll hope it's good. And we'll hope to maybe Deep Cavern Bat them a couple times. But we're in their ballpark now. This is where they have all the advantage. No block. It's just a free removal spell for them if I do. And it's just like I'm playing against the best one deck now. Heartfire Hero, Monstrous Rage, another Heartfire Hero. Everyone's favorite. Cut Down is now available. Here. Creature's gotta go. Get rid of another one. Kind of hold here, I guess. Probably going to block regardless just to absorb some of the damage. But if it's a Manifold Mouse, we're probably just game over. Yeah, absorb some of it, I guess. Spell Pierce, Deep Cavern Bats. I'm going to take a look at their hand, I guess. Monstrous Rage in a land. I mean, I have an answer to this, kinda. We have to top deck a land. So no block can happen here. Alright, well, they found something. Down to 4. And the untapped land is not going to get us there. We'll move on to game 3, I guess. It turns out Heartfire Hero is just as good in best of 3 as it is in best of 1 whenever they just played on turn 1 and they're on the play. Just kind of lose. Big shocker there, you know what I mean? I will play first, thank you. Hand's pretty solid. We have interaction, like a really good creature to set and play. And our mana makes sense. Pretty good and pretty solid. They maul, so this Duress and Deep Cavern Bat are going to be even better here. They maul again. Okay. Kind of the thing you don't see in best of 1. I know I keep bringing that up, but kind of one of those things. Monstrous Rages are annoying, but Innkeeper's Talent is worse because giving things ward and stuff is pretty awful to have to deal with. They play a land that we didn't know about, so we now know their whole hand. We go with Deep Cavern Bat, take their only threat. There's no point in taking double Monstrous Rage here. We take their only threat. Kind of getting to do what we do best whenever we're on the play. They'll find another threat. Immediately find the same threat. Oh boy. Okay. Here in the Preacher. Preacher's just good. Has Death Touch. You can maybe do the math, but this will get double strike and be way over the Preacher's pay grade for sure. Or not. Double striking that. They find a land, but it's tapped. Okay. Will we block that? I think the answer is yes. But the draw is so good. I think they're trying to decide if they want to trade with the Preacher, and they don't. Okay, this is actually a good draw. So, most likely not blocking regardless of what happens. So, let us attack here. Another land is not ideal, that's for sure. Go island here. Let's play a Siren. Just activate on Siren. Another land, okay. Play a tough one. For that actually finished resolving, we're going to try to flood pits it. Because we don't want to give them an extra look at a protection spell. You get one draw, and that's all they're going to get from us. There's a Paul Patch recruit. They are currently in combat, so it does matter a bit. They go straight to second main. Probably going to offspring this if I had to guess. Maybe you remove our Drowner. They do. Sure. So offspring the Paul Patch is not an option. Alright, well, we get another one anyway, so that's obviously pretty cool. So, card draw, I guess. Camera Bat's pretty sick. Here, play the bat. The situation where obviously having like the Enduring Curiosity still in the deck would be nice. I don't really want to give them a free target right now because we don't know what they'll do when it comes to like the combat and stuff. And this is obviously tap for now. Let's see what our opponent likes to do. They want the free target to Challenger, so it doesn't seem like combat's happening. I wouldn't assume it is. Go flood pits. Get rid of the manifold mouse. And they concede. Okay. Very cool. Why do they get a scarecrow, dude? What's this? The mana limitation's kind of tough. But hopefully we can probably find an extra source of mana. Fanatum. Mr. Spyglass Siren. We can probably play like the Fountain Port, use the map, see where we go from there. It's a free counter spell, I guess, but map, activate. Could always wait, but I don't know if that's necessary. We'll let that go for now. Attempt to attack. Although I feel like if you planned on removing this. Okay, sure. Why they're tapped out and we're clearly in the mirror, we're going to get rid of this so we don't have to deal with the Kaido ourselves. Even though Tiebinder can obviously cause some problems there for your opponent. Or our opponent, not your opponent. That's my opponent, not your opponent. Sure. Huh. A little bit different than what we thought it was going to be, I guess. Counterspell not necessarily going to be the biggest piece here. We could go Preacher, but most likely it's going to end up falling short, but we'll try. Could have went for Deep Cavern Bat, but I would really like to find an extra mana source to go Deep Cavern Bat into Phantom Interference. But at least having a Preacher in play can kind of body the Prowess creature for the most part. At least I would think. Yeah. With a flyer only attacking, I feel like that's the answer. Maybe a Kaido comes in, it stuns it? Sure. Not great for us, obviously.
Psst, impressed. Looks like I gotta fight my way out of this one.
A whole lot we can do about it. We could Tidebinder it next turn. Like, shut it off, I think. Yeah. Fail to draw a card. A Preacher's allowed to attack, which is kind of crazy. When this creature attacks player with the most life, create a 1/1. Never. Okay. Sure. There's a land. Whenever this creature attacks while you have the most life or tied for the most. Here. I don't know. Maybe here. Always feels weird.
Can't give in.
One of my reasons I honestly, I don't know, I have a hard time playing best 3 in paper is like it just takes so much longer a lot of times. Do this. I don't know how this exactly works. Be quite fair. Okay. It's something. It exists. Alright, if this isn't a I have spells to play that I've ever seen, definitely means they have spells to play. Or they have another Kaido ninjutsu in. Essentially. Sure. Yeah. One. I can play Kaito too.
Boom. Did I scare you? I've got them pinned. Press the attack.
I know. I'm gonna try to turn up the heat here. To be honest. Like a really weird situation that we have ourselves in this game. I don't know about that one, Chief. Here.
Fine. I'll
I feel like maybe just saving our Kaido or something would have made sense, but sure. My Kaido can go down. Sure. One of those things where I don't know if Kaido's necessarily like craziest card we have written in our game plan.
Don't worry. I've got an exit strategy.
Yep. I won't play it again for kind of obvious reasons, I guess. Yep. Like to take a look-see. This town, Kaido, and Storm Chaser's talent, huh? Probably the thing that can bounce 2 permanents on their turn. We're not tied for the same life total, but we're pretty close. 3-6-ish? Actually, more than that. It's 2, 3, so 5, 6, 7. I have to kind of keep a creature back. If I have to, it's like, I mean, I guess these two can just kind of attack pretty freely, I suppose. They also make a 1/1, have a flyer. They want to have fear block my Tidebinder. It doesn't actually matter that much. Then we'll play our land, and then we get to have Restless Reef attack next turn as well. Go ahead. Yeah. Sure. All right. Gonna cast Kaido. No, we're leveling. Okay. Sure. So now I just commit more to the board, right? I just take the other this town, play the Siren. Would probably do that post like an attack here. Now I have more life than them too. Can I attack for lethal? Let's assume they block everything big we have. So there's a block, a block, a block, I guess, right? So we have 3 getting through. I guess a block as well. So we have 1, 2, 3 blockers, because that'd be lethal with this too. Or like, yeah, because we have 5 to 4, and they can block everything. We have 6 to 4. There's no combination of 2 creatures left after blocks that can actually strike for lethal. But it threatens it. But we also have lethal being threatened back at us, and that's the main problem. Yeah, so let's do Deep Cavern Bat here. Let's take this town. Kaido's just going to get isolated in their hand for us. We're going to play Spyglass Siren. I'm going to activate this on our Spyglass Siren. It gets bigger, and Enduring Curiosity is obviously a monster of a card here. And then I guess this 1/1 can attack to gain life. Actually better as a blocker here. A 7. So it can gain 1 by attacking, but it can also block more than 1 damage on the back end, which is better for us. Oh, how did I do that? What? Did I do that? Well, no, there's no way. Like, how would I have looked at both of those at the same time? I don't know. Why did 2 this towns pop up in my face? That's wild. Yeah, they didn't really have a lot of ways to draw extra cards outside of Kaido, right? So Duresses are obviously good. I think Tie Binders are fine. Edict's obviously a very good card in this matchup. Urtai's probably fine. Gix Command finds itself being a little bit weird again. Negate is okay. Spell Pierce is like okay, but I think Duresses are by far the best in that spot. Flash creatures are obviously going to be good. Phantom interferences are kind of whatever. Cut downs are also whatever. This is definitely going to be a weird one. Creature kind of carried too. I don't know how to feel about it. And we're on 25 lands, which is just a good number to be on. Played a lot of decks in the past, at least in paper, where like oftentimes we actually trim a land, which is weird to say. But Tie Binders seem good. I think just playing at flash speed on my opponent's instep is going to be really good. I almost want to play that entirely. Although Fairy Mastermind doesn't seem like the best card, because they only drew every now and then. They literally had no extra like actual card draw. The Fairy Mastermind is a bit worse, I think. Watch, I'm going to see all the card draw this game, which can happen. Negate doesn't count in Ninjutsu. It's also a bit slow for kind of the enchantment. I'm going to run this back, I guess. Like, cut downs are fine, but I think our main form of removal has to be creatures. They'll get to choose to be on the play once again. I think they were on the play in their first game, but tap land, Deep Cavern Bat. They take a Maul, so knowing that I'll keep, especially considering 3 of our 5 cards, or 5 of our 7 cards are playable, barring obviously what we draw. Now even more cards are actually playable. Sure. Spyglass Siren. That's okay. And then they'll activate that map. Ooh, they get rid of that. Okay. Fantastic draw. Kind of a bailout draw to an extent. Not necessarily like a bailout per se. Cut down's kind of annoying. Storm Chaser's annoying. This town is annoying. And that's obviously a bit bigger, but they don't have the land. So I guess I'll take the gamble on the land and I'll take the cut down. Because if they also play a land, I know I need to block probably. Honestly, I don't need to block. You can put in your Kaido. I have a Shieldred's Edict. I'll gladly just make them sacrifice their Kaido. Taking an important piece away like that so early in the game is obviously going to be very good for us. Because now we get to play like the Siren, the Edict. And then if they have a card like Edict, they don't get to do much about it. So let's do this for each opponent sacrifice a Planeswalker of their choice. Yeah. And then I can just hold up cut down. I think that's better than Spyglass Siren right now. Go ahead. Sure. We'll see if they activate the map, and if they do, they're looking for land. Or at least maybe trying to find a tap land, but we'll get rid of that right away. Now they can go for Storm Chaser's talent, sure. Land draw here means we go for... Okay, I lied. A land draw in a different scenario means we change our plan a little. Don't need to look for a land quite yet. We'll attack for 1. We'll hit for 1. I'll say go. Obviously, we can throw a Spyglass Siren block here. Not going to let another Kaido happen if I can avoid it. Sure. Here. I'll force him to use that cut down on the Siren. Yep. Another land. Land, go ahead. We're going to look to flash in this Curiosity on their end step. Most likely they might tap out to do something. That resolves. That doesn't affect me none. Does not affect me at all. That was clearly probably their draw this turn. Here. Most likely this will enter. We'll see them bounce it and nowhere to run. Sure. Children. Here. I think a map would be great. Phantom Interference is also not that bad in this kind of situation where they're missing land drops. They had to go for the third. Okay, cool. They go. Could also get to the point where we start attacking with our reef. I know that obviously doesn't feel like the best. Sure. Go for Drowner. Pound that creature out of our way. Fire off a Duress. See what's up, opponent. Sure. Tuck that away. And we get the Duress to fire off. Preacher's pretty good. Get rid of that. Untap land. Perfect draw. Nice. That's a good draw. I can't really do much about that. Go ahead. They attack. They have lesser life, so they'll do make a dude. Sure. There's the courage. 22 to 22, essentially. Both doing our little best. Go for the third, sure. At some point, one of us will basically be drawing dead. Third. Now they'll draw an extra card here. Sure. Bring this up or not? I have no idea. No blocks. Another one? Oh, everything's coming together for him, huh? Every card that they draw is just going to work out flawlessly, and it always kind of sucks when that happens because now we're just in this really weird spot, but sure. This one? You. That Kaido is about to be another draw that they just hit right on the nose. Alright, we can play an untap source here and play the Spyglass. Alright. Honestly, maybe Phantom Interferences just have to go. I don't know. No. It's so weird because this is just 2 draws if I make contact with them. Yeah, it's 2 draws and there's nothing they can really do about it. I guess they can pick up this town, which works. Will they use it though? No. Okay. Combat. Here. The card I know well. See what happens. Do need to find removal for this preacher. Kind of over all things else. And not. I'm 1 mana short of doing kind of what we want to do. And we'll play here and we'll play here. Turn. See what's up. My opponent's 2 cards a turn beat me. Who knows? Here. Try to block this preacher, I guess. Gonna bounce it. How you doing? We are. We ripped another one. We've already seen 2. They found all 3 copies in the top half. They might play 4, I guess, but typically it's just 3. Veil, draw. I mean, we have 6 card draws here. I don't know. I feel like if I can't find an out on 6 draws, I don't know what else to do. Sure. It feels as though I should be able to do something. Okay. I did find some cards that do get to play the game well. Play a swamp. Let's play a preacher here. You have a cut down. Okay. Here. Uh-huh. Sure. See if they reanimate another land here. Maybe they'll go for the win, which will put them tapping out. For the most part, anyway. Went for that instead. You think you were activating mode 4? Okay. I don't know. But we come away with the win there too, I guess. I felt like that was going to be a lot different. But our plan was to play this, tapping this, because it specifies creatures only. Oftentimes it'll be like a non-land permanent or a non-land creature or something weird like that. But we can tap this, and I thought they were going to bring up this Restless Reef. So we're going to play this, tap this down, block the Restless Reef because it's 4 damage. But here with this or whatever, honestly, it could have been possible. Well, that doesn't tap either, right? Because of Vigilance. Yeah, so we tap this, and then we go from there. I don't know. It's weird. I don't know how we end up winning, but our opponent left, so cool. Okay, so here we are after playing a couple of games of best of 3. It's a little bit weird for me. I find playing best of 3 obviously a lot more awkward. You kind of have to fish out more information whenever you're losing to know what you're sideboarding, and sideboarding is honestly the hardest part of playing best of 3. And a deck like this where we kind of have so many one-ofs and things like that, that aren't just very obvious to put in. Like, for example, for against control, it's like grab the duresses, grab negate, take out the removal. That sucks. Like, cut downs come out. That's easy, right? And even domain, right? Cut downs just, they just come out of that match. I mean, there's just no reason to have them. You definitely want to be duressing and doing stuff like that. But against the other matchups where it's kind of the mirror or things like that, I just haven't had enough experience myself playing best of 3, and I've played so much best of 1 that the kind of decks change a lot. And then best of 1 is a lot more greedy in the way that they're going about it, because realistically in best of 1, I'm talking about it so much because that's typically what my channel is, but best of 1 is kind of like have a good win rate on the play, have like a 65-75% win rate, like try to have a really good win rate on the play, and then on the draw try to be 50-50, you know, oftentimes, and that puts you in a very good win bracket. But in best of 3, it really just comes down to like how well can you make good plays over the span of entire games. Because yeah, you're going to lose game 1, you're going to lose game 3s, you're going to lose game 2s all the time. Like, it's going to happen. It just happens in games like this. If you flood, nothing you do, you call it a day, you move on. And I've always lived kind of by this philosophy of like 20% of the games are losses automatically, 20% are wins automatically. Kind of those things where like your opponents literally can't do anything, and then you have to solve the other 60% of the games, where either like you played the best deck against them or they played the best deck against you and they caught you in like a bad matchup. For example, if I'm playing domain and they are on the play and then they just Heartfire Hero crush me, right? There's just not a whole lot I can do about that. That falls in that 20% I can never win. But if the reverse happens and I'm on Heartfire Hero and I do it to them, then that falls in the 20% I auto win. But when you get like the blue-black mirror, it's a lot of decisions, like, are you going to plan to be more aggressively? Are you going to play less aggressively? Things like that, that I have to kind of get back into my gameplay, because I've been playing a lot of best of 1 or like just Commander in general and not a lot of best of 3. And when I do play best of 3, it's typically modern. So I'm way more used to like knowing exactly what every one of my cards are for and what I have them in the sideboard for. But this in standard, it's weird, because like I see a card like Gix Command, for example. Card is, in my opinion, really bad in best of 1. Like, I would never play it, so I immediately cut it almost every time. I'm like, why is this in our deck? I'm like, oh yeah, we're in a different format. Like, it's crazy. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed. I'm gonna probably play best of 3 a couple of times, maybe a week. I know I'm not full switching. I just want kind of a mix up right now from kind of the run-of-the-mill stuff, and in best of 3 it'll probably be a little bit more of your staple decks, while I try to figure out like what cards actually go in sideboards and whatnot. But with that said, I hope you all enjoy regardless, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.